so here's my mistake, and that clicking sound, I apologize for that. That's my steam pipes, but I want to record this, and yeah, so what's going on here is, let's see if I can get it to focus. This is a ball of green hair algae or filament algae, and as you can see here, it's just all over everything, like this, all covered. Like I could pluck. Look at this. Just giant amounts of it. So, my mistake was, I think, two mistakes. I think, one, having two fixtures on these are causing this algae because it's been going on for a while. Even before we moved, I still had some of this, but I thought it was because I was dosing excess nutrients. And I was pretty sure that it was because I was dosing excess nutrients. But I haven't dosed any nutrients since we moved into the house. And this is gonna go right in my garbage box right now because I don't have a garbage can set up yet. But yeah, so basically I'm getting a ton of that algae in this tank and that tank. Those were the two grow tanks that I had set up before I moved. And then those two over there are the holding tanks. And yeah, so what am I gonna do? Well, one, it could be my lights, and it could also be I was without CO2 for like the last 2 weeks or so. Oh wow, hold on, I just saw something. Look at this. Look at that. Have you ever seen something more beautiful than that? Jeez. Anyway, yeah, so no CO2 for like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it's been, because I've been working on getting my CO2 fixed throughout. One, I ran out. Two, it's just been pouring out a ton of CO2. I'll show you on my bulb counter here. Boom. I don't know what's going on there. It's pouring out way too fast, and I have my speed valve here that I have pretty much all the way closed, and it's still like pouring out of here. Now I just turned the system on, so it could be repressurizing and stuff, so that might work itself out in time. I'm hoping so. Because yeah, it's just bleeding CO2. Anyway, yeah, so no CO2 for a week could be a big problem. Lights maybe too much because I went from 1 to 2. That could also be a big problem. But I have a ton of this algae growing, and it's, you know, I thought it was nutrients. It's not, or at least it can't really be nutrients because yeah, there it is. You see that mess of algae. Ugh, I gotta get rid of it all. So what am I going to do to get rid of it? Well, one, I'm hand removing all of it, or as much as possible. I might resort to doing some sort of bleach dip and or hydrogen peroxide treatment if needed. But wow, some of these plants with no CO2, look at that. That's beautiful pink colors. That's not even the other one. I don't know, maybe I need to run a tank without CO2 and see what happens. Put a couple different plants in there because some of these plants are looking beautiful. You can see other plants here almost nearly melted all, but we'll be seeing what happens. Also, I think that's my, yeah, that is my crypt. Let's see, crypt flamingo right there. I don't know how well they're looking. I gotta strain this tank up more. I've just been so busy every day trying to get something, but like, you know, these tanks were set up for 3 months prior to the move, or what was it, 3 months? No, I set these up. We moved beginning of March. They were set up since October, I want to say, maybe even sooner than that. So these have been set up for at least 4 or 5 months prior to us moving, and they were really flourishing and not losing any species. But now in this tank have a ton of blackbeard algae, as you can see, just growing on anything that was old. I got a bunch of plants melting here, a bunch more of that algae and whatnot. I got 2 new species in. This is, I forget these 2 names, but I have them written down somewhere. But yeah, just tons of algae problems in the grow tanks. Probably a combination of transitioning from the old place to the new place, no CO2, maybe too much light. I don't know. I have to get in here, and I feel like it's almost going to be a full gut, and I'm going to have to re-buy like 90% of the plants I have from hobbyists that are completely gone, pretty much. what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to pull things out individually, really sort through them neatly, pull off any dying parts, leave whatever's growing that I know is healthy, leave that, and kind of repopulate. But that's why you might not have seen any stem plants recently on the website, because these both are the stem plant tanks, and they're no good. But even with these the way they are, good news is the Pitco or PetSmart, whichever one it is, I don't know, their $1 per gallon sale started. And while I don't think 40-gallon breeders are supposed to be a part of it, I will be going this week to try and get the 12 tanks that I need, hopefully for $1 per gallon. If not, I may only get 8 and start building the racks for the other side of the room, which, excuse the mess because we just got done packing, but we'll go right here. And then this table will be removed. And then probably put at the end over there. And yeah. And then the shipping station, which right now is over here, will be over there at some point. But yeah, so... Oh man, I don't know, guys. I'm trying. My patience is wearing thin with the algae, and it's I'm almost at that point where I'm gonna take the really rare species that I know is like okay to be removed from the tank, completely disassemble everything, throw out any plants contaminated, or bleach dip them, and hope for the best and see. But I tell you, this is frustrating. To no ends, and I'm trying my best. Just there's not enough time in the day to deal with these tanks right now. I gotta get in here. Oh, cherry shrimp, hold on. I bought these in hope that they would eat the algae, and I mean, it looks kind of like he's doing it. I'm not feeding them. I mean, there's plenty of food in here for them to eat, so I'm hoping that they'll eat it. But I mean, there's a ton of algae. Oh, there he is. Look at him. You go, Mr. Cherry Shrimp. You go. As for the rest of the stuff, pretty much manual removal. Like, look at all this. Look at this. Just gunk. Like, tons of it just coming straight off. So yeah. So that's where I'm at right now with stem plants. I gotta sort this all out because, yeah, this algae is being a nuisance. Anyway, guys, hopefully you don't make the same mistake I do. Be sure to leave a comment and or a question below for something that you'd like to see covered in a future video. And until next time, I will see you later. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. At this part of the video, I want to let you know that we're doing a new kind of contest, as well as putting codes in the video at some point. They're hidden, they are in there. There will at least be one every single episode, I guarantee you that, so make sure that you're looking throughout the video. It's going to flash on the screen for a split second, and it's going to be first come, first serve, so the trick is get here before everybody else and really watch to see where the code's hidden if you want to win some free stuff. On top of that, another chance to win in case you're not fast to it. Maybe you live in a different part of the world. When I upload these things, maybe you're sleeping, whatever the case is. It's simply just leave a comment on the video, whether you're asking a question or answering our question. So every video, we're going to be choosing one lucky person from the comments to kind of win a prize. I'm normally going to choose questions because I like to have questions to answer. So if you have a question, leave it down below. But if you leave a funny comment or a creative comment or something that adds to the conversation of the video, we might choose that as well. So today's comment comes from Rich's Fishes, and so Rich, you won. So PM me on YouTube from your YouTube account, and I'll be able to send you your code. You win $10 to the store. So congratulations, Nate. Do some fancy editing with that. Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it. That's awesome. Anyway, so his question it says. And this was on episode Daily Trim 50 with splitting CO2 lines, and we discussed how you do that. If you want to check that video out, it'll either be on the card or somewhere over here. His question is, do you find that the speed control valve is sensitive enough to dial in a constant flow rate, a constant rate of flow? I've always gone with separate needle valves to avoid potential issues of varying flow rates from tank to tank. guess you sort of answered that one by explaining the troubles you've had. So, in the old apartment before we moved, once I got everything set up the right way, everything was working smooth. In the new house, because of the way the tanks are now laid out, there's different lengths of tubing than what there once was, and I have a different regulator and all that, so there's a bunch of different variables that really have factored into this huge mess with the CO2 not working properly. It's either flooding the tanks with CO2 or it's not enough CO2. So with all that said, is I've actually kind of figured out what it is. It happens to be the Aquatech regulator that I bought. There's nothing wrong with it, but the increased PSI, the little knob that you can turn to increase or decrease the PSI output, that was turned up a little too much, and what was happening is no matter how tight I made those valves on the individual CO2 lines to the tank, they were just spilling out CO2 because the pressure was too high and they can only handle a certain amount of pressure. So I turned down the pressure a little bit on the regulator, and now all the speed control valves are working properly, where I can completely shut it off or I can fine tune it. And once it's set and it's good, until your tank runs out of CO2, you're good. As long as you don't touch that pressure valve or pressure control, it seems to work fine. So the valves are good. They're expensive. They're quality. I do recommend them and all that. So if you want to see more on that, check out the video like I said. Leave your question down below or your comment below, maybe touching on the subject or something that you'd like to see answered in a future video. Until then, guys, I will see you later.